Hello, how are you doing today? I'm so glad that you found my video, and I need to ask you a question. Are you into old Ford model kits? Do you like custom cars as well as stock ones? Well, if so, I've got a really cool model to show you today. This is AMT's 1961 Ford Galaxie, and it's a Styline Kit, which means that you can build it one of three ways: stock, custom, or stylized. And I've got this one in my collection. Check out the side of the box. Look at all these cool parts that you can get in this kit. Some of them are custom, some of them are stock. And here is a picture, an artist illustration of this 61 Ford Galaxie as a green car that you would buy at the car dealership, as well as it's got this cool display stand where you can display your built model right on the wall. It's a wall-mounted thing. Isn't that neat? And here you can see the stock version of the car, factory stock in the background, and this really high stylized version on the end of the box, as well as, of course, the top. And underneath shows you all the parts in the kit. Now I'm going to unbox this so we can actually see what's inside. And if that seems exciting to you, why not join me as I do that? So now I'm going to go down to my bench, set the camera up so it's pointing straight down at this, and we can take a look at the kit and the instructions and everything else. So come on down, let's do that. And here we are down at the bench, going all the way back to 1961, where we can take a look at this AMT 1961 Ford Galaxie 3-in-1 Styline Kit that you can build stock, custom, or stylized. Now, I didn't notice this before, but this white car in the back is not factory stock. It's actually a mild custom with rolled pans and a tube grille, courtesy of J.C. Whitney. And it is kind of a neat thing to look at in the back. It's got some fender skirts as well. But up front is the fully stylined kit. You can see a nice couple sitting in here as they drive down the road. Got these really cool hubcaps with holes in it, as well as this really tricky front end design with these really neat looking dual quad headlights and matching grille. Really cool stuff. Are you excited to open this? I sure am. But I'm going to show you the side of the box here in just a sec so we can see the custom features. Here we have the custom features, and they're right out of the 60s when this kit originally came out. And what we have is a tape deck, headlight nacelle extensions, we have custom wheels, pad printed white wall tires, twin grille body extension, which kind of looks like a Pontiac thing. Then we have grille filters, or fillers, sorry, egg crate grille, custom rear tube grille, custom taillights here, a rear deck extension, stylized bumpers, there's that deck extension, stylized bumpers, exhaust shroud and stack, a skirt aerial, so this is an antenna, Nerf bars, rear skirts, custom front tube grille, and a hood scoop. So again, a lot of parts, much like the 1959 Chrysler Imperial kit I also unboxed on this channel. Check that one out if you can. Styline kits are really, really cool. Okay, so these kits are actually quite simplistic. They are intended for ages 10 and up, as says on the back of the box. A skill level 2 kit, basic skill level 2 kit, with some glue and painting required. Here we have the parts overview, all silhouetted out, so it'll be cool to see what these parts look like a little later on. Chrome-plated parts, black or pad-printed black vinyl tires, metal axles, clear parts, transparent red, and a wonderful decal sheet here in black and white. So as we open up the kit, we'll see that in color. And like I was saying before, here we have this wonderful wall mount display. But ask Mom and Dad first if you can hammer this into the wall, because they might not like that. But anyway, this support under here, once this is all installed, you put your car on there and it'll hold it up against the wall. All right, enough for the jibber jabber. Let's take the lid off. Who is excited? I am. All right, so right away we've got our body, interior, and the suspension all in this one bag. And then we've got our chrome parts, and boy, these look really cool. We'll take a look at them in more detail later in the video. We have our tires and the axles and all these screws. Then we've got our glass, clear plastic parts, another bag full of bits and goodies, And then we have a catalog from 2011 and 12. So this model is about 10 years old. No, more than that. Business reply. We also have the instruction sheet coiling up the side here. Ooh, wide angle lens. And our decal sheet down below. And then we got a little goodie in here, a bonus. Upside down, unfortunately. A mini box. Remember when AMT gave you these? I wish I'd do that again. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll clear all this out of the way and then we'll take a look at all our parts and our instructions. Here we have our instruction sheet, and I always like to start our unboxing videos with the instructions because that way we can see what we're going to be building in the future and how all these parts fit together and all that other stuff, so that when we look at the parts later on, we have an idea of where they go. So here we've got another image of our box top, and this time in black and white. But I noticed this. These little vents just behind the front end. This was popular back in the early 60s to do this. They're like little, not too sure, but just to dress up the fender. So usually the way the custom car guys did this was with fiberglass. So they would resculpt some fiberglass here on the top of the fender and then add little bars in the front or whatever they wanted to do, usually chrome bars. And then they would mask those off and paint this once they had finished flushing it into the body by various sandpapers and files and everything else. So let's open this big thing up. Ooh, this is just like my old instruction sheets on some of my models that I have from the past. The very past. Now these Styline things, short story on styling. What is a stylist? And it tells you. And that's really good. But what they did in these is, in these old instructions, is they would give you alternative ideas so that you could further customize your car. And it gave you basically like GM, or I guess Ford in this case, but basically customized designers. And what they would do in, the car manufacturing in order to come up with really cool ideas. Like, look at this car down here. They added on this bullet style nose and increased the belt line up here, added rocker panel or turn under. They're basically describing what the panels are, I guess. So here's the belt line, rocker panel or turn under. So basically rolling the, instead of the body coming straight down, it rolls underneath. So that's what they're talking about. Headlight openings may be filled, and a body crease line down the center. And here they've got the swept back hood. So from the top, you could put a pointed nose on your car. Then if we carry on the side, it's got ideas for extending the rear deck out or shortening the rear deck for a higher spunky appearance and increasing the nose. Look at this weird curve up here. It's almost like actually it's like knife blade in a weird way, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, sort of to cut the wind at the front. And then on this side, it's showing to contour the wheel openings back to give it a different look in here. And a full wheel cutout, basically radiusing the wheel here. Or you can go a different way. Partly enclosed wheel openings, so you just drag it back a bit, but fill up the top. Or fully enclosed wheel openings, so that's using your fender skirts and whatnot to cover that back wheel up. And then here they're suggesting using a thin metal or plastic cardboard straight edge to make sure that your putty work is going to be fine. And here's how to attach that front end on there. And in order to do this sort of thing, you will need some putty. I like to use this Tamiya Basic putty. I find it works pretty well. It's gray, it will dry, and then you sand it smooth and add in more just to get all your contours up and make it nice and smooth. Overall, I just love these Styline instructions, so let's take a look at what's going on next. It's like a storybook now. It's kind of nice. Maybe I can do all this in one take. So here we have our stock interior detail assembly with a steering wheel, steering column, instrument panel, chrome mirror, and the interior is a tub. So that means that everything is molded in place, the side panels, the pedals, the seats, and then it pops into the body. Now, speaking of which, in the next panel over here, it shows it going into the body. So you got the body upside down, your clear glass, your interior completed, and then these hold-down washers will go onto those little posts. Now let's move our little booklet along here. So now we're getting into the chassis. So here we have our stock wheel assembly. So there's the wheel arch of the chassis, a lowering block. Now this has two holes in it, so stock would be down below and then lowering would be the hole up above. The inside wheel half, the tire, the outer wheel, which is chrome, and all that sandwiches together gives you your wheels. This is for the stock version. So then we have our fender ornaments going into the front fenders, the grille, and our taillights in the back, and the rear grille, and then our chrome bumper. Then the chassis goes in, and you screw it together with the 4 screws. Okay, so next in our story, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else in between. So we have the interior detail assembly. This is now custom. So what happens? What changes? Well, we get our steering column. We now add a tachometer with a decal, steering wheel, and then we have our gauges going under the dashboard with more decals. We got a floor-mounted gear shift lever, our mirror, seat belts, and then a tape recorder, and that goes in there. And then here it's got instructions on how to apply decals for custom interiors. So I guess these are the panels. Or no, these ones down below. We'll see on the decal sheet when we take a look at that. It says read and understand the application instructions printed on the back of the decal sheet. Cut the desired upholstery pattern decals from the sheet. Work slowly and cut close to the color. So use a ruler when you're doing that. And then apply decals over the existing interior upholstery sections. Use a setting solution if desired to soften the decals and help them conform to the engraved seat pattern. Test any setting solution first on a scrap decal. Keep that in mind. Okay, so once you do that, again, that interior glass body assembly is the same as before. And we'll just slide this across. Now we're getting into our custom bits. So this is where it starts to get pretty cool. If you are into customs, you'll love this. So we got the same wheel assembly here. But like I said, now we're up top for lowering the car. And then we get our custom outside wheel half in chrome here. Okay, so with that in mind, now we add the chrome details, or the custom details. Hood scoops, spotlights, fender mirrors, front rolled pan. There's that tube grill with the J.C. Whitney style tubes. Here we have Lucas lights going in with clear lenses. Nerf bars down below. Now Nerf bars replace the bumper with sort of like these rings or whatever the customizer wanted back in the day. So they were basically just tacked onto the roll bar, or the front roll pan. You can leave them off if you like. This is your custom. Build it the way you want. Custom tail lights, a tube grill going in the back here. Thunderbird style, right? Rear rolled pan and a license plate. And again, this is a custom piece. We've got exhaust shrouds for these side mufflers, otherwise known as lake pipes. Exhaust shroud, exhaust stack. And then you've got your custom rear skirt, and the antenna for your radio or whatever is sticking forward out of the skirt. This was another customizing idea back in the day. Instead of having your antenna sticking straight up, which doesn't look right or natural, they would have it stick forward on the customs, which gives it more of a like a torpedo look or something futuristic. Now, let's move on. Now we get into the really cool stuff. This is the restyling. Yeah, this is what we like, restyling. So this shows you how to attach the front ends on here. So you basically want the bottom piece or the top of the car body to overlap the bottom piece. And you notice it's chamfered here, which means you would sandpaper down the front at just a bit of a 45-degree angle. This is to help the putty fill in, which we see down below. So you can see the chamfered end and then the putty over the top. And again, the Tamiya putty. And this is an applicator, something flat, so that you can squish the putty down along here. Yeah, look at, there's the putty, and there's our putty. Make sure you wear puttees when you're putting on the putty. Anyway, so then we've got a finishing stick here, the sanding block, with some sandpaper and a little container filled with water. So this is a wet sanding technique. And you wet sand because when you're using the sandpaper, see, do I have any here? Is this sandpaper? Nope. I don't have sandpaper. Not here. Okay. Anyway, the sandpaper, the dust from the putty will fill in the little spaces in between the sandpaper and make it just like a normal piece of paper with no cutting edge. So in order to keep that clear, you would put the sandpaper in water, get it all wet, and then sand a bit, and then keep putting it in the water to clean out the little spaces in between the sandpaper from getting filled with putty. And then that keeps this all nice and fresh and keeps the cut of the sandpaper going instead of plugging up. Then once all that is done, as it will tell you in here, you can then paint your model. And it says here, this is presented for nostalgia only. AMT paint may not be available. But we would use something more modern like Trumclad or Rust-Oleum or whatever you prefer on here. Again, you would put a primer coat on first, sand that all up, make it nice, and then put on your color coat. Okay, so let's move on and see what it says here. So here we've got the restyling end, and here we've got our headlight nacelle extension being glued onto the body with the deck extension, which also includes little fin ends, so that would extend the fins outward instead of having them just end abruptly toward the end of the body. Once these are attached, you have your egg crate grill going in there, and then your Lucas lights standing up and down, vertically, sorry, and the clear lens is going in place. And then out back, you've got the custom rear bumper going in there, and then your sunburst taillight housing and the custom taillights going inside. Now let's see what else is going to happen. Okay, here is... Oh. Okay, wait, let's go back for a second. If you notice up top, it says moderate restyling of Ford Galaxie front and rear. So now... Okay. Now it says major restyling of Ford Galaxie front and rear. So here we have the headlight nacelle extensions. And this one has a little curtain on the top. Let's just take a look back for a sec. Okay. Oh yeah, it has it here too. All right, so it's the same part. Okay, so then we add in this front grille, which is sort of Pontiac style, or I'd like to think of it as a Pontiac kind of look. And then it says to add scrap plastic. So this would be from your part sprue. And you put them in front here and here on either side of that custom grill. Then you're applying your putty, again, right into here and smoothing this out between the edge of the insert and the hood. So up in there, covering your plastic bits. And then you would file all that down and everything. And now you've got this kind of front end. Add in your Lucas lights and the split custom grills, 1 and 2. And that's your new front end for the major restyling. Now what about the back end? Well, boys and girls. Anyway, here's the back end. And we have the extension piece going in, and then we've got a different style bumper with these angled edges to it and a beam in the middle. And then it says to apply your putty along the top of the beam, file all that, or sandpaper that down smooth, and then look at this. Look at these tubes coming out the back. That's pretty cool. Add in your sunburst taillight housing, and then it says here,
when filling in the front and rear sections of your car, some of the original hood and trunk opening lines will be covered by body putty. To cut new opening lines for realistic appearance, guide your knife blade with a straight piece of plastic, cardboard, or ruler. Lines should be cut before painting. So it's basically saying to open this up again. Now, what you can actually do instead of using a piece of plastic is get masking tape and go down where you want that line to be. And use a couple of pieces of masking tape to get a thickness up. And then, if you really want, carefully go with another piece of masking tape over here in case your knife skids in. It'll just hit the tape and stop. And then go down the tape in between the center of the tape. That's what I'm trying to say. And instead of using a number 11 blade, I'd use the number 16 turned upside down because you have a different style of edge on there, which would help more with getting that putty out. Okay, so then on the back, what do we have? We've got some more details here. Part swapping suggestions. Presented for nostalgia only, parts may not be available. Okay, so back in the day, in 61, this would actually be a George Barris thing on the original instructions because he was a consultant for AMT and styled up a whole bunch of this stuff. So it says, beauty and functional appearance are combined in the Thunderbird kit's custom wheel discs. So that would be the AMT 61 Thunderbird that's no longer available. Oh, some additional modifications for your model. The parts shown here were selected for their ability to harmonize with the basic styling of the car and are only a sampling of the many available in AMT's Styline series kits. Now you can also find these or parts like these in other kits out there. 58 Chevy comes to mind. The Imperial that just came out, that also has a whole bunch of parts. So up here it says reverse scoop for interior ventilation. Center portion of the Ranchero pleated roof trimmed and molded to the Galaxie. Ah, so that's interesting. So not only is it the scoop, it's also the roof. Thunderbird custom bumperettes on the Galaxie roll pan combined with the Galaxie special egg crate grill and Lucas headlights. So there's those other style of, what do they call them? The bumperette sort of things. Again, really neat. And then out back, naturals from the Thunderbird kit. Horizontal blade antennas. So that's these. I wish they still had them. With canted taillight dividers. So again, really cool stuff on here. And then there is your display shelf instruction sheet. So now that we're all hyped up with this instruction sheet on how to stylize this car and everything, let's take a look at those plastic parts. Ooh, I'm really excited to see those. Here we have our body for our 1961 Ford Galaxie, and it looks pretty cool, but there is a lot of flash on here, as we'll see in a second. So let's bring this up to the camera. Now just turning this over on its side, you can see the nice detail in here. A little bit of chrome foil on there would look nice, if it has it actually on the real car. Really cool how the door handles are part of the fin design on here. It's also got the door lock button down below and the nice formal style roof up here. Little Galaxie script right in the front. Really nice stuff. Up here we have Ford stamped proudly on the hood. We also have our cowl down below. I can see some little like scratch marks in here. It is smooth though. That must be from the mold process. Out back we have the Galaxie script across here. Yep, Galaxie. And the trunk lock button. You can see the nice back end with the sunken in part right there. But again, lots of flash. Underneath we've got the round 2 stamp, 2010. Boy, I didn't realize this kit was so old. We've got holes that you can drill in for your spotlights and antennas, or actually mirrors. Again, really interesting stuff. Holes for the back that can be opened up for whatever you need there. Possibly antennas again. Basically, if you built this stock, it would be quite an easy, quick build. You can see the flash up around the bottom of the car. So again, a lot of sanding and prep will be needed in order to get this straight. There's also flash on that fin right there. See if I can can see it right there where my finger is. So yeah, seam lines flash and all kinds of ugly nastiness, but like my friend James says, at least it's not short shot where there'd be like parts missing off of here from not enough plastic getting in the mold. So at least they got that part down right. Again though, quite a bit of cleanup in order to get this good, but should be nice once done. Next we have our interior tub, and again the edges are quite rough on it, but inside it's not too bad. Got front and rear bench seats. Again, quite nice. It would be really a lot better, I think, if this was a flat pan and you had an option of putting in custom seats. But as this is basically based off of a promotional model kit, it's not that way. Okay, so we have some sink marks in here on the floors, just, yeah, in very hard to reach areas. So again, I'd suggest a number 16 hobby blade if you have one. Otherwise, it might be difficult. What you could do is flock this with some flocking material, and maybe it would hide it a lot better. The side panels are very lightly molded, but you can see that they do have the window winders and a bunch of other details. It almost looks like down here it's got power windows, a little power window box with the switches. That's interesting. Maybe these are just door handles to get out? No, they wouldn't be up that high. I don't know. At any rate, interesting stuff. So, very simplistic. I mean, what can you say? The rest of the components are on another parts tree, like the dashboard and the mirror. But overall, I think it's not too bad for a simple kit. Finally, we have our chassis pan. And again, you can see it's really rough around the edges, and there are mold marks in it. Or maybe there's not mold marks. It looks pretty fresh on this side. But yeah, you can see just how much flash is sitting on here. Flash! Ah! Even that hole is blocked up. But boy, looking at this, wow. Oh yeah, all the sink marks are on the bottom, right where we can see them. Not too sure if one of the other Ford undercarriages would fit on here for you guys that want more detail stuff. I mean, you have to experiment. For us guys that like just to slap some of these together sometimes, everything is molded in underneath. It'd just be a bit of painting and dry brush detail. Here you've got your dual exhaust leading down to a single pipe off the one side. You got your rear differential molded in place, all the cross braces, front end. I mean, really simple. Maybe not the best design out of AMT for this, but keep in mind this was a promotional model back in the day, so when you bought your 61 Ford Galaxie, you could get one of these as well. Now we're going to take a look at our white plastic components, and I've got two down here. Now the first being our dashboard, steering wheel, and steering column. Now keep in mind these Styline kits are not really about putting in the best engine and the undercarriage and all that detailing and, you know, fully operational suspension and everything else. They're basically about customizing the outside of the car. Again, being promotional models, but that's our main focus here. So forget all the engine detailing, wiring, and, you know, putting the spark plugs in the right firing order off the distributor cap and all that. Just concentrate on what would George Barris do? What would Gene Winfield do? What would the Alexander brothers do? And attack this model from that angle, basically, and you'll be fine. You'll be happy. Okay, so there's our dashboard and that. And then here is the wall-mounted stand. It's got a neat little Ford emblem right here, and that's to cover the nails for the mounting up top. So I'll just move this to the side for a sec. Let's concentrate on the dashboard. Again, it looks really nice. You got all your instruments right there, your speedometer and all that. Glove box door, radio, Mexican radio. A full steering column, which is nice. The little hole there for your tachometer. Also got the steering wheel with the hand grip molded in place. Actually, this doesn't have very much flash on it at all. A little bit on the rim of the wheel. but compared to the shaky bits of the chassis and everything, this is quite nice. Okay, let's take a look at that stand. Stand in the place where you are. Face north. All right, anyway. So here's the section that mounts to the wall. Now it's got two little pins in here, and that's for the back of the Ford plate. And then it's got one central hole, and that's for your nail to go into the wall. Make sure you hit a stud if you can, instead of going right into drywall. And then it's got this little clip here, and I do believe that's so that if you get more of these, you can link them together and have them stacked up the wall in a vertical column. And this hole here is for this to fit in. That's your locking tab. And then here you've got the 3 points for your car. Now, I do believe this bit of black stuff on the end is just some mold release agent. Try something here. Okay, it's not coming off, but at any rate, I mean, you can always paint these hangers if you want. Paint in here blue with the white Ford letters, make it loud and proud. But at any rate, that's these two components. So let's take a look at our Styline parts. Here we've got our Styline components, as well as our suspension bits and the washers to hold the body in place. We've got seat belts, the parts for the lake pipes, the rear wheel backs, front and rear, our tape recorder, a nice old reel-to-reel style. My dad had one of these, and he recorded this story he made up about a fire truck coming in and putting out burning buildings and whatnot. And somehow we lost this thing, or he sold it at a garage sale or something, and now we can never hear that story again, which is quite sad. Anyway, here's our fender skirts. There's the rear rolled pan and the front roll pan. So let's just take a look at these bits. Nice detailing on that tape recorder. Can always be a good thing in a diorama setup, or you can even make a 1/25th scale science fiction display and have some scientist talking into the recorder about his latest findings of the Frankenstein monster or something. I don't know. Modernize the story a bit. These parts are really nice. There's some mold marks in behind, but on fender skirts you probably wouldn't notice it because the wheels are blocking the way. Wheel backs are simplistic AMT style, the metal axles going in. Then you've got your seat belts, and these have some mold marks in them, but that, I mean, you could sort of say that the mold mark is the button, to release the seat belt. So sometimes you can get away with it a little bit. There's the front end. Interesting, there's a hole here, but not one on the other side. Wonder where that is. And you can see the nice frame detail around the license plate here. Again, pretty cool, pretty simple, but should look good on your model. Now, speaking of these custom parts, I'm going to do something a little new here. So there's what the... Oh wait, it's the wrong one. Okay, here's the front rolled pan and how it might appear in the body. And then see if I can do a fender skirt deal. Maybe, is that upside down? Does it wrap around? Something. No, I think I was right the first time. But yeah, you would basically have your fender skirt off here and cover it up quite well. Okay, let's look at some more. Here we have our next two parts trees, and we do have some tools included as well. Here is the stick for the sandpaper, the one for the smoothing of the putty, and then we've got this one. I'm not exactly sure what this is for. I did look in the instructions. It could be one of two things. One, it could be the plastic used to scrape out your putty on the body for restoring your trunk and hood lines. Or it could have just been thrown in here for you to use for other bits on your model. Custom cut your own, tall fins or whatever you want to do out of it. So I'll leave that one up to your understanding, I guess. So here we have one of the front grille inserts, as well as that cool cone-shaped rear end. And then here we have the extended fin rear end with this neat robot style mouth in there. And then we have the front end for those hooded headlights. And this is the scoop, the hood scoop. It's asymmetrical, which is interesting because none of the rest of the car is. So I'll bring that body back here. Make a bit of crunchy crash noise. Let's just see what these look like. Okay, so there's the back end, and that will go on there. Very interesting stuff, for sure. What about the other back end? I like that. That's pretty neat. Then, as you can see, hopefully, it extends it out quite a bit. Wait, let's try it on this side. Okay, reverse hand position. Oh yeah, it takes it out about 1/2 inch, maybe 1/4 inch, but still adds to the overall length of that car body. Now, for you guys that are interested in mathematics, how much is a 1/4 inch added on to this in 1/24 or 5th scale? Leave me a comment in the description below, or whatever. Okay, look at the front end here. Again, I'll have to switch hand positions. Okay, come on. Okay, so bring this around. You can see how the front end fits over the bottom portion of the wheel opening and then goes up into here. Now, it would be interesting to figure out how to get that body line in there. I wonder if they just have it filled in or something on the box. I don't know, we'll have to take a look at the box art. But overall, the fit in there looks really nice, like it would go in easily. Then there's the asymmetrical hood scoop, if you like that one. If not, I mean, you probably have a whole bunch of parts in your parts box. But if not, there are some kits out there. AMT's 55 Chevy, for example, has a bunch of cool custom parts in there that could work well on this body. But overall, here's your Styline parts, and remember your Tamiya basic putty to blend them all together and have fun stylizing your car. Now, these kits wouldn't look like much without some chrome on them, and AMT has given us a healthy amount of chrome for sure. Check this out. We've got our front grille, our back grille, and our stock bumper. And that's all you need, as well as your stock hubcaps. So have fun. No. All right, so for your customizing, guys, we have these really cool wheels, and you might be able to drill out these holes too if you want more detail, or just add some black paint in there, you know, for looks. We also have a couple of choices of grills. So there's a wide egg crate grill, there's the 2 split grills, all these Nerf bars with the loops on them, gear shift lever, the tachometer, we've got our Lucas light bezels, we have the custom rear end and the J.C. Whitney style tube grill. We also have those little bits that go into the front of the front fenders, and then these really cool custom tail lights. Those, I guess, are the sunburst ones. Then we've got our rear view mirror and our gauges, as well as side mirrors and the dummy spotlights. Dual antennas here as well. Bringing this up to the camera. Take a look at that. Nice black wash in the grille would be cool. Molded in headlights. Again, north and south, east and west on that grille pattern. Got our front turn signals in there. So I have 2 of these kits. I'm going to do one in stock and one Styline. Of course, you could get a whole bunch of these and do many of them. And I do believe AMT has re-released this recently, so you don't need a kit as old as this one to get the parts. You can see on the back there are mold marks. Now, because these are going to attach in the body, you want to make sure those are sanded flat. And your lights are going to go in here as well, so you want these out of the way so they sit flat, because this is the front of the grille. Really nice looking. Doesn't look so good from the back, but from the front it looks really good. You even get a trophy in here to display with your model, so that's cool. Add in your shelf and your diorama. There's that custom rear bumper right there, and your lake pipes. Really nice. This will be nice to put together and to display on my shelf. And if you get one, you can display it on your shelf too, or wall. You can put it on the wall. Here we have our clear plastic components, and we have our front and rear windshield, as well as the Lucas headlights. And this is the old style of glass, which had the long runners in them. I can never figure out why there's always one broken like this, what the intention is. At any rate, you can use your hobby saw and cut them off there and right there and get rid of the runners, so when you turn your model over upside down to look at it later on, you don't see these going up in the headliner. And then here we have our rear taillights. We got the stock ones with the buttons on the top, and then these sunburst ones, which are the custom. There's also little red dots here. I'm not sure if they're used on this kit, but they could be something interesting. I mean, back in the day, they used to use little red bullets in the center of the hubcaps, so maybe you could carefully glue those on. Just, whoops, lost focus there. Just make sure you don't cut one out and goes flying across the room, never to be seen again, because these are really tiny. So be very careful. But overall, the detail on them is quite nice. Glass is smooth and clear, as you can see. There are 4 mold marks in the corners, so again, carefully cutting these out will eliminate all that issue, and you still have the locking tabs to secure them in the body, and you can add a little bit of glue on the edge just to hold them up at the top. Here we have our tires, and these are wonderfully reproduced Firestone Supremes. These came out in the early 60s for AMT. AMT basically had 2 tires. One were regular Firestones, which end up being in the 1932 Fords and those kind of kits. And then the Firestone Supremes, which I always thought were a lot better looking because the tread pattern is a lot more interesting on the sides, as well as, well, down the center it's just straight lines. But they're tighter together than the other Firestone tires that AMT has. So you can have your choice of the black wall with white walls on the inside, or this wonderfully stamped white wall from round 2 on here. Looks great. I always like these Firestone Supremes. And I've noticed that AMT also has, as a parts pack, Firestone Supremes with a gold ring on them, which were a really cool tire back in the day. But overall, these are nice, and they will fit your wheels perfectly. Here we have the metal axles and the screws, and the metal axles are for holding your wheels on the car, and the screws are for holding your car body together. AMT has given us 5 screws in case you lose one somehow, so that's always good. Now, I want to talk about these parts. I didn't want to take them out of the bag in case I lost them, but I wanted to give you guys some tips on these. Now, back in the day, the older metal axles, AMT used to just chop them off with a big cutter to whatever length, and the ends would have burrs on them. So when you're trying to put a metal axle with a burr on it into your wheels, it doesn't want to go in nice and straight. It wants to go off to the side, and then it has a lot of resistance because you're pushing a burr into a hole and that sort of thing. So my dad suggested that you file all the edges of the metal axles, not to a sharp point, but just round them out, and then it will be able to go into that wheel back better. And another idea is, if you have a drill press, is to get your wheel back and put it on a piece of wood so it doesn't go through the hole in the table of your drill press. Then put the metal axle up in the drill press as if it was a drill bit. Tighten it up. And then what you want to do is push down on the drill press into that wheel back so it's got a perfect vertical dead drop into that hole. And then hold the wheel back and pull the axle out. Put that one to the side. Get your other wheel back. Push it in and keep that metal axle into that other wheel back so that you have one that's, right and left hand side of the one thing. So this would be like your front axle. So you got right and left hand side of your wheel back. You have one that's already pushed in, so then that will slide in nice and easy. And the one that you just pushed in that's locked is locked, so you're not pulling it off. So then you can have your wheel backs into your chassis. And that's the one suggestion. Now, for the screws, the other suggestion, of course, is to take a candle for your wax, paraffin wax, and then rub the screw end, turning it around, on the wax. And then when you're ready to screw your car together, the wax acts sort of as a lubricant and allows the threads to go into your plastic. So those are 2 tips from my dad, and I hope you can use them. Now, if you've ever watched my videos before, you'll know that I always keep the decal sheet to the very end because it's a really cool reveal, all the artwork and everything. So it wouldn't be really good for me to show that right off the bat because it's kind of a mystery, you know what I mean? Get the excitement going. So this is the back of the decal sheet, and it shows you the application of this. So my suggestion, because you're going to be cutting out images, is to photocopy this, or I guess scan this into your computer now, since photocopying is such an archaic method these days, so that you have this image so you can always see this and, get some ideas from it, instead of an image that's got like a big square cut out of it. Anyway, it shows you the decal application, how to moisten the water slide decals in water and slip them off like this, finger down here and finger on the back and peel it off. I know a lot of people like to use tweezers and whatnot. I'm more like Conan the Barbarian and just stick my hands in there and slide them off. And then I raid a village somewhere. No, anyway. Okay, let's see the other side. Look at that. Look at the coloring on here. This is really nice. Wow. I like it. I think I'll keep this. Frame it. Put it on my wall. No, I don't know. Oh, hey, there's a good way to get rid of those pesky mold marks on the interior. You actually get decaled floor mats. So hopefully they won't sink into the holes in the center, but they're all textured. And that's really cool. And you get some extra simulated textured red vinyl and white vinyl that you can apply anywhere you like on the interior of your car or even on the exterior. So that's pretty cool. Look at these. I like that. Sort of a sunburst style pattern. That was pretty popular back in the day, as was all these pinstripes. And you get these nice little stars as well that you can put anywhere, as long as you can see them. Oh, they're actually big, medium, and small, but I can see there's a little bit of a ring around here of decal film, so they're meant to be, put on your car in that way. You actually get a couple of sets of white ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up there, but only 3, or no, there's 4 of the blue, 4 of the red. There's the instruments, the decals. So we've got some license plates, Michigan Styline, push rods of Syracuse, New York, and then hot and heavy on the sides and hungry. If you want, I guess, sort of a names for your custom, because that's what they used to do. They named their cars back in the day. They still do. Firestones for on your front fenders, and then the cat from AMT right there, as well as AMT&T decals, because this car is dynamite. And get ready for the AMT bonus. The AMT bonus is a mini box. Collector 19. 61 Ford Galaxie. Instructions. Cut out the mini box and fold along all the lines and glue it together. Then you'd have a mini box to display with your model. And this is cool. A nice little treat from AMT, printed on your basic cardstock. But it looks just like the real box. Oh, what was I going to do on the... Oh yeah, that's what I was going to do. I was going to look at the box art and take a look at how that front end goes on. So remember how I said there was a body panel line that went here, and how are you going to do it? It looks basically like they filled this all in and filled up along the body line and then sanded it up here, up to where it hooks up with those little eyebrows, I guess, on the front fender. So that's basically how you would do that, just smooth it all into there. But overall, again, another nice little bonus. You see these little circles? That's where you apply dots of glue and glue it together. But I don't know. I think if I was building these mini boxes, I would use the hot glue gun and hot glue it in. I guess you would hot glue gun, so you would go along the lines, hot glue gun the top, and then like those really crummy old Revell boxes that they had for a while. Remember the ones that fold open and then the sides pop out and everything falls out the sides? You build it like that. So yeah, basically, there's your mini box.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video where I got to show you this cool kit in my collection. As you can see, I've got a lot of models, and this YouTube channel is basically me opening up kits, sharing stories, as well as like built models that I've done. Here's one of them right here, actually. Hang on. Here it is. Now, I built this, if I can hold it properly, a very long time ago. It's a Lindbergh 1934 Ford stake truck. Again, really cool. A lot of fun stuff you can do by building models. Hopefully I don't drop this on the floor. But yeah, that's what my channel is about. And I also own a hobby shop where I sell models. So if you see something, maybe in one of these videos or whatever, and you're into models, check it out. www.monster-hobbies.ca. Really cool, easy to navigate website, and we ship around the world. Of course, you gotta check the shipping rates. But at any rate, yeah, check it out. And until next time, everybody, happy model building, and we'll see you in the next video.